Hi, everyone, and welcome to this Thursday edition of Bears Blitz, brought to you by Jimmy John's, alongside former Bears offensive lineman Dan Jiggets. You know him well. William Jackson here with you. And after being away from Soldier Field for the past 3 weeks, counting the bye, the Bears are finally back home against the Lions. Dan, is a little revenge on the Bears' agenda, would you say?
Well, you know, you'd like to think maybe that they got a little something even more important than last week to make sure you win this one.
That is huge right there. Well, here's what's on tap over the next 60 minutes. Here on Bears Blitz, we'll bring in ChicagoBears.com senior writer Larry Mayer, live from Halas Hall to talk about the improved Bears defense. Then we're going to hear from former Bears safety Chris Harris as he gets set for his Lions debut right here in Chicago. That'll be interesting. And later on, star linebacker Lance Briggs takes to the podium to talk about how he and the defense plan on getting their revenge against Detroit on Sunday. Plus, we will put Dan Jiggers on the spot, as we always do, with your questions in our Ask Dan segment. But first, we hear from the Bears defensive captain and face of the franchise, Brian Urlacher. Lack and his teammates have a reason to be optimistic heading into the Lions game because they've been playing some good ball as of late. Let's go to the podium.
We play pretty good at home, though.
All right, Lack and Dan, in your opinion, is this Bears defense a lot better or different than the one that faced the Lions before?
Well, I think they're doing what they're supposed to do.
In the visiting locker room, but it's something fun.
Wow, Chris Harris back at Soldier Field wearing a Lions uniform. That will be a little different. Welcome back to Bears Blitz, brought to you by Jimmy John's. And without further delay, let's head up to Halas Hall, where we find ChicagoBears.com senior writer Larry Mayer. And Larry, how about Chris Harris coming back as a Lion?
Yeah, that is unusual, guys, but it isn't unprecedented, and that's going to be a huge key for them on defense, obviously.
No doubt. And Larry, how much momentum do you think the Bears will take from this last game against Philadelphia? Because when you play Philadelphia that tough, you have to feel good about yourselves and containing those guys. And now you go up against a Lions team, as Dan said, not the same team, not the same speed merchants. It'll be a little different for them, huh?
Well, I don't know if it's just the fact that they beat Philadelphia, but I think it's the fact be gold about the Penn State situation. They shared their unique perspective, having played for Joe Paterno. All that's on ChicagoBears.com today.
Okay, Larry, we appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks.
All right. Time for another break here on Bears Blitz. When we return, we'll head back up to Halas Hall to talk with John Moon Mullen of CSNChicago.com. But first, here is Bears radio play-by-play man Jeff Joniak's keys to the game this Sunday.
ChicagoBears.com presents Jeff Joniak's Keys to the Game, brought to you by Ford.
Hi again, everybody. Jeff Joniak, and welcome back to ChicagoBears.com.
I think everybody has to turn their game up another notch.
Yeah, this is indeed money time in the NFL as teams try to position themselves for a playoff spot. No doubt the Bears D has been playing better as of late, but Lance Briggs says, contrary to what people may think, it's the same old Bears D as before.
No changes, just executing better.
Coming up on Bears Game Night Live, London calling and the Bears answered. A hard-fought victory that took all 60 minutes. We'll hear from Lovey, and Matt Forte was mic'd up in our Sounds of the Game. All that served with some tea and crumpets right now on Bears Game Night Live on the Chicago Bears Network. Good evening to you and welcome to this international edition of Bears Game Night Live. William Jackson in for Lou Canellis. Now, with the Bucs leaving for England on Monday and the Bears leaving on Friday, a lot was made of who did it the right way. Well, as one player said at Halas Hall this week, whichever team wins is the one who got it right. Let's go to the action for you. And a great game it was on this particular day. Bears and Bucs from historic Wembley Stadium, 76,000 in attendance. First quarter, Bears strike first. Matt Forte with the handoff, gets to the outside. Watch one quick move right here. Then he says, let me get you again, right there, and he'll take it 32 yards for the score. 7-0 Bears with the lead. Later in the first, Cutler back to pass. But you know what? Tanara Jackson says, I have other thoughts, as Marion Barber can't hold on, but Jackson can, taking it back the other way, deep into Bears territory. Tampa Bay definitely threatening here. But on the very next play, I want you to watch this one. Mike Williams wants the ball, but Chris Conte says, you guys drafted me high for a reason, gets the pick, going back in the other direction. But the celebration is short-lived. Want to know why? Here's why. Forte can't get out of the end zone. Rondé Barber, Adrian Claiborne getting for the safety. 7-2 is the score. A rugby count, huh? Second quarter, Chicago driving. A lot of people have been wondering where Roy Williams has been. He's right here as he holds on for that one for the touchdown, 25 yards. 14-2 is the count. Third quarter now, another strong drive for the Bears, culminating with Marion Barber taking the handoff, and he says, get off of me, into the end zone for the score. 21-5 at this point, and it seems like the game is in hand. But fourth quarter, Bucs mount a comeback. It starts with a Cutler interception. Corey Lynch will tip it to himself, gets it to go, and takes it back to the 21-yard line. That will set up Josh Freeman. He looks to Kellen Winslow. And I tell you, this back shoulder stuff works big time, as it does there. They missed the two-point conversion, however. 21-11 the score. After a 3-and-out, Bucs threatening again. Freeman to Briscoe in the corner. Gotcha, baby. He will score this thing. 24-yard pass and catch. 21-18 the score. 7 minutes left. The Bears need to sustain a drive. Matt Forte says, get it to me, and I'll do all I can to help the cause. Watch the move as he'll take it down inside the 5-yard line. That will set up a Robbie Gould field goal, and Robbie is right on target. Hits that with under 2 minutes left, 24-18. Bucs need a touchdown, but Josh Freeman is good for coming back. He's done it 8 times. Oh, how about this? In the fourth quarter or either in overtime, but DJ Moore says not on this occasion. And to all, a good night. Bears win it. Final count for you in this one is 24-18, and the guys are feeling good about that. Here are your final stats brought to you by Lexus, and the most glaring is rushing yardage. The Bears ran for 177 yards compared to just 30 for the Bucs. Chicago with nearly 400 yards of total offense on the day. Now, Lovey always says if the Bears can get the turnover battle and win it, they'll win the game. Well, they did just that, 4-2, and they were all interceptions. Well, our Bears Game Night Live crew over in London covering today's affair. So what do they have to say about the Bears' huge win? Let's find out. Here's Lou Canellis, Jeff Joniak, and, of course, Tom Thayer in the UK. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Super Bowl 42 most valuable player, Eli Manning. Okay.
I thought that was a Plaxico Burress highlight film there.
I know, as you look back at it, right? Now, first and foremost, were you guys surprised? Are you surprised? All right. Now, Eli, when we talk about winning a Super Bowl and you look at your family, your father, Archie, played ball. Your brother, Peyton, got a Super Bowl win before you did. And they say that's the pinnacle. When you do that, that's it. When did you actually realize that, you know what, we won the Super Bowl? Was it right after with all the accolades, or was it that quiet moment by yourself?
You know, it kind of hits you a couple times. And obviously right after the touchdown, the Plaxico, I was excited, but I knew it wasn't over yet with Tom Brady and Randy Moss on the other side. But, you know, finally when we got the ball back with 1 second left on the clock, and, you know, I kind of knew it hit a little bit, and right there. And then there's one scene, I'm kind of standing on the stage before I go get to hold the Lombardi trophy, and it kind of hits you right there. No one was around, no one could get to me, and you know, you kind of start to realize what just occurred. And then kind of later on that night, I got back to the hotel, and we had a little party with all my friends and family, and you kind of walk into the room and everybody hugs you, and your dad and brothers are there. So all those times it hits you, and you just you know, realize what you've accomplished.
Appreciate it, guys. And we're talking football with the Trib's David Haugh. And David, I tell you, as the draft quickly approaches, we have to talk about the Bears. And the first thing when you think about the Bears, they begin off-season training to an extent this past week. Brian Urlacher, a no-show. Is it all about the money, especially with Lance getting the big deal?
Well, it is about the money.
Okay, now when we talk about another player who commands respect and is in for a big payday, Tommy Harris entering his last year of his rookie contract, and they say this guy, 3-time Pro Bowler, has been underpaid for a while. Is it time to get it done, and is it imperative to get it done before the season gets underway?
I think there's a sense of urgency.
There's an old saying, if you don't learn from past experiences, there's a very good chance you'll repeat them. So with that in mind, Mike Brown opted to pull himself out of last Sunday's game versus Detroit when he felt some discomfort in the calf area, something he admits he probably would not have done earlier in his career. And if this past bye week has anything to do with it, Devin says he should be refreshed. That's because he took time out away from football and celebrated his birthday with family and friends. And the Bears' mindset at linebacker is set up for success, with each of the backers expected to be able to multitask.
On KCTV 5.
Good morning to you and welcome to the Nebraska Furniture Mart Chiefs Locker Room Show. And again, the gang is all here. All-pro tight end Tony Gonzalez. How about it? Leif Leipzig is here. And I'm William Jackson. And talking about a nice atmosphere, big win over the Chargers. You guys came out and did it in every phase of the game, huh?
Huge win, huge. And what a great way to get the season started off right against a good football team. Donnie Edwards, I talked to him all week. He said that defense was ready for us. Not ready enough.
Welcome back to the Nebraska Furniture Mart Chiefs Locker Room Show right here on site. We're in the store, middle of the store. You can come out here and just have a ball. Everything you want in electronics to watch these guys on television, you can do it. All-pro tight end Tony Gonzalez, all-pro special teamer Dante Hall joining us now. And Dante, just talk about the spark that you provided this past week to get your team going. Had to feel good.
Well, I heard Tony mention that, Priest is only as good as the offensive line, and that's pretty much true as when I'm back there returning punts and kicks.
Good evening to you and welcome to Arrowhead Stadium, site of a big game tonight. This has been a huge day for Kansas City sports fans. This afternoon, the Royals right across the parking lot taking on the Minnesota Twins. Not good results, but tonight the Chiefs are hoping for better results against the Minnesota Vikings. Now all the action here gets started at 7:30, and you can see it right here on KCTV5. And the guys calling tonight's game, Roger Twyble and J.C. Pearson, they're up in the booth. Guys, what do you have for us tonight?
As we learned this year, every Bears game had a unique and captivating story behind it. And no part of the season defined that more than the second quarter of the year. The Bears were able to get off to a great start in the division, but it was those 11 seconds in Hotlanta that is still the talk of the Bears season.
A lot of basketball today, some NBA and some good college basketball action.
Let's check in with William Jackson for all the highlights.
Yeah, we have to start with our local guys, the college, huh? Not bad. Good evening to the Missouri Tigers. Had to wait nearly a week before being granted a chance of getting that bitter taste out of their mouth created by the loss to KU last Monday night. Didn't taste well. Well, today they get their chance versus Bobby Knight's Red Raiders. Pick it up for you early in this one. Quinn Snyder trying to share some knowledge, but early on, Andre Emmett was taking the Tigers to school all the way down, up and in for the two there. He had 34, but Mizzou right back. Good bounce pass. AJ with the reverse layup from Clemens. He had 23. Pretty play coming up here. Clemens will spot his man McKinney. Breaks to the hole. Bang time. 2 all by his lonesome for the basket. Now down by 7. Kroenke will go to Paulding. Paulding up top. Works free for the 3. Yes, it goes. Nothing but the bottom. 38-32. Mizzou at the break. Now, how about this? Kareem Rush spending his all-star break, hanging out with his buddies, going out to dinner after the game. Second half, though, the Red Raiders, Powell comes up with the nice behind-the-back pass to his man, Storzinski for the 2. But Clemens says, you know what, I can counter that. Watch as he works free for the 3 in your face. And Mizzou wins it. Final count for you as we go to the board. You see it there, 82-73. Now with more on Bobby Knight's trip to Columbia, here's Leif Leipzig.
I'm Bobby Knight. I love the Channel 5. Channel 5 News is the best.
In Columbia, I'm Leif Leipzig, KCTV5 News.
Thanks, Leif. Yet another Big 12 team in action today. Number 11, Oklahoma State made the trip to Cincinnati. However, the outcome, not quite what the Cowboys had hoped for. We'll show you what's going on in this ball game as the band will take a break from eating the pizza, the belt out of tune versus the Cowboys. Cincy feisty, though, Leonard Stokes. Watch as he'll fight for the basket all the way to the hole. Give him the 2 and 1. Not bad. Here, Cincy will run the floor. Stokes will go to his man. Field Williams puts it up from way outside. Face, nothing but the bottom there. But the Cowboys will show some spunk. Sanders comes up with the steal over to KCK's Victor Williams all the way in for the 2. But you know, in the end, not enough since he wins this one. Final count for you as we go to the board here, 61-50. Meantime, yesterday in Manhattan, Kansas, the Jayhawks' dominance over Sunflower State rival K-State continued after Saturday's win in the Little Apple. KU has now beaten the Wildcats 26 straight games. But to the Wildcats' credit, they played KU tougher than they have in quite some time. In fact, K-State had a 1-point lead going to the half. Yeah, even KU coach Roy Williams noticed the Cats improved play.
You know, their kids were fighting like crazy. Come out with a win.
Well, the Stars were out in numbers tonight in Atlanta for the annual NBA All-Star Game, and it will also be Michael Jordan's last NBA All-Star Game. But first, Paul Pierce out of KU plays with Boston now. They're giving him his props as he's introduced. And then the man Michael Jordan playing in his final All-Star Game. By the way, Jordan becomes the all-time All-Star Game leading scorer tonight. Plus, he started the game thanks to Vince Carter. But early on, Steve Francis says, okay, it may be Jordan's night, but this is my hoop as he goes in for the pretty two there. Jordan eventually will get it going, but early on, he was a bit off the mark, a bit overzealous. But here, Tim Duncan gets it blocked back by Jermaine O'Neal. At the other end, watch Vince Carter get it back with the big jam. Vince is the man. Then Peyton says, if you can do it, we can do it better to Garnett as he hits this thing. And to close it out, watch Michael Jordan with the scoop. Gotcha, baby. And as we go to the board in double overtime, look at this thing. A final now. The West beats the East 155 to 145.
Nothing like a big-time upset to get the 2008 campaign started for the Bears and ruining the party for the Colts in their brand-new home. For the defense, it was a night of redeeming their identity. Big-time plays to keep Peyton Manning and the Colts in check while putting their own points on the board in dominating fashion.
We wanted to make a statement and make it early, So for a team, especially like the Colts, score 13 points, that's a statement.
For this defense, the sky's the limit. We have all the potential in the world, but if we don't use it, we're nothing. So, yeah, I mean, if we continue to play like this, I think we can do even better.
You can see how confused Peyton was. He didn't know what the hell was going on. And that was, that's a good game, good game that Coach Babbage called today. He had him confused, and we didn't do any of that during the preseason. So we kind of knew that we were going to have this package of us moving around and trying to confuse the quarterback.
And while it may be a little too soon to anoint Matt Forte as the savior of the Bears offense, his NFL debut was a fantastic start. 141 total yards for the rookie, with 123 coming on the ground.
I felt great. I mean, to make the first touchdown, especially have it be a long run in a new stadium, Sunday Night Football. So it was very, very, very good feeling.
He has excellent speed after he gets out in the open, but he has that. He has a knack for making you miss. He has quick feet, catch the ball out of the backfield. He's just been a real pro since he's been here, and it'll be fun to watch him grow.
He's a good football player, and I don't think anybody in the locker room surprised by it, just by the way he has handled himself, But it was still good to see, and he came out and played well, and hopefully he can maintain that focus.
And while this opening night victory may not take away the sting from that rainy night in Miami a few years ago in Super Bowl 41, it can serve as a token of retribution against the Colts, and hopefully a psychological advantage that can sustain this team for the rest of the year. We will soon find out starting next week.